Hello, my name is Todd Fabosi, and I'm the Director of Sustainability for the Capital District Regional Planning Commission. This video is a brief tutorial on how to use CDRPC's Census Mapper application. What you see in front of you is the Capital District Regional Planning Commission website at cdrpc.org. And if you'll notice, there's a tab for regional maps. And if you click on the tab for regional maps, at the top you'll see the Census Mapper application. So let's launch the application. So the primary purpose of this application is to allow a user a simple interface to be able to map census data thematically. The Map Tools tab will not be open when you first open the application. You click on that and you'll see Define Thematic Map, and that is the primary purpose of this application. And so I will be showing how to use that tool and then touching on the other ancillary tools as well. So if you notice at the top there is a single map shown. I will be showing the side-by-side and swipe as well, but starting with the single map. So if we click Define Thematic Map, there are choices for the geographic area to map. The primary purpose of this application is for the 4 core counties of the Capital District region: Albany, Rensselaer, Saratoga, and Schenectady. We have also included the 8 Regional Economic Development Council counties with a small set of census data from the decennial census. And then you can also choose any single county of the 4 counties and map those as well. So I will stick with the 4 counties of the Capital District region and click Choose. Next, we're going to choose within those 4 counties what geographic area we want to use to create the thematic maps. And our options here are at the census tract level or the minor civil division level. So the census tract level is a sub-area that breaks down the minor civil division into smaller increments and is the most appropriate most often for thematic mapping at a detailed level. But I'm also going to show how to use it at the MCD level as well. So I'll start with the tract. Now, and you'll see how the progress is tracked here as far as the steps that are necessary. The next thing to do is select the source, and there's only one choice for the census tract data, and that is the American Community Survey data from 2012 to 2016. It is a 5-year period combined into one data set, and it is the most recent census data available. We choose our category. So I will choose income. So we have a whole series of different categories: population, race, income, transportation, housing, immigration, education, and employment, and then a whole series of data sets that fall within those categories. So in choosing income, we choose what's the specific attribute or variable that we want to map. So in this case, I'll choose median household income. Now, because it is a median, there's only one type of thematic map type that's appropriate, and that is the choropleth map. So when you select the type of map, that's the only type of map that will be shown. If there was a magnitude or count, there would be a dot density option or a proportionate symbol option, and I'll show those momentarily. So for this, we'll just simply choose choropleth, and the map is created. And I'm going to click on this tab here, which will zoom into the 4 counties more clearly. Now, in order to interpret this map, we need to see the legend, and you'll note over here we have a legend tab. I'll click the legend tab, and now you can see how these colors correspond to the different category breakouts for median household income. We also have in the bottom left here the ability to show the labels for each of those census tracts, which in this case shows specifically the median household income of each tract. So that's the simplest way to approach creating a map, and it's very straightforward. I'm going to go and show you that again now with the minor civil division level. So we'll clear the result. I'll define a thematic map again. I'll choose the 4 counties, And in this case, instead of choosing census tract, I'll choose minor civil division. I'll choose the data set, and in this case, because of the minor civil division boundary, there's more data sets available. There's an earlier iteration of the American Community Survey. There's the most recent iteration. There's also building permit data and population projection data. So I'll map building permits in this case. So there's no other category besides just permits. And then we're going to pick the variable, and we have different increments of years that we can map. So you'll know it's 1980 to 1989 and so on. I'm going to pick 2010 to 2016. So the last 6 years up until the most recent data that was available. And we're going to show that in either a dot density or graduated symbol, as I noted, because this is a count. We'll choose graduated symbol. I'll click this tab again here, or this button here, to bring it up to the 4 counties. And now you can see the distribution of building permits from 2010 to 2016. I'll show the labels so you can see the individual building permits for each municipality. I'll also show another tool over here, which is layer visibility. When I click on that, I can click the minor civil division layer, which will show the labels for those. I'll close that so that the name of each municipality is shown in this case. The other option that we have with this tool is to create a report. So you'll note in the lower left, if I click on this report tab, a report's generated for this particular variable of building permits during that period. You'll see the total permits in the region, the 4 counties, the total permits for each individual county, and then all of the permits during those periods for each of the individual municipalities. Now, one option that you have is you could click and drag this table. You could copy it, and then you could paste it into a spreadsheet if you wanted to further evaluate the data. So I'll close that tab. I'll clear the result. I'm going to go back to layer visibility and take off the minor civil divisions. And so that's how to create a thematic map. It's very straightforward. Now, to move to the next tool, which is a side-by-side tool, this is essentially the same procedure, but it allows you to do it with 2 maps at the same time to compare maps. So if I open up the Map Tools tab, click Define Thematic Maps, I'll go through the procedure again of choosing the 4 counties, choosing census tracts. The American Community Survey, the most recent, is the only choice. In this case, I'll choose housing. And for the variable, I'll choose vacant housing units. And because that is a count, the choices are going to be, for the type of thematic map, a dot density or a graduated symbol. I'll choose dot density. I'm going to zoom in by clicking this tab. Depending on your screen settings, it may zoom into this automatically. And I'm going to open the legend. A dot density map in this case is showing 1 dot equals 5 vacant housing units, and you can see the distribution of vacant housing units. And if this map note is in the way, you can click that and it'll move out of the way of the map. So what would be comparable then would be to create a map on this side, going through the same procedure, choose the 4 counties, choose census tract, the American Community Survey. We'll choose housing again. We'll choose the same variable, but we'll do it a little bit different and do the percent vacant housing units. And in this case, the only choice is a choropleth map. I'll zoom into that, open the legend, reduce this. So now we've got the same variable mapped in 2 different ways, and it allows you to examine this particular data set through different mapping techniques, and other aspects may be revealed about this data set by doing this. The next tab up here is the swipe tab. So the swipe tab allows you to be able to compare an earlier American Community Survey data set with the most recent. So these are ready-made data sets. On the left, you'll choose, and this is from 2005 to 2009, some of these, we've got a series of ready-made maps from that period. In this case, median housing values I'll choose. And then automatically, the corresponding same data set for the new ACS period, 2012 to 2016, shows, and I'll click that. And what this allows us to do is compare those different periods of time to see what kind of changes have taken place. So I'll open up the legend, and the legend is set up to be the same for both time periods. And essentially you just grab this slider and move it across the data set from the earlier period to the more recent period, and then you can note the changes that have taken place in housing values. And as they get darker, you notice that the housing costs have gone up, the values have gone up in certain towns. That was not the case in the earlier period. So this allows you to compare over time. I'm going to go back to the single map tab now and touch on some of the other tools that are available. Quick maps underneath the thematic map are just a series of ready pre-made maps. So these are already defined, already created for you, and you can just click on any of these particular maps, like for example, percent bachelor's degree. If you click on that, I'm going to click this tab to zoom in a little more, and the map is already made for you. So that's just an easy way to get access to some of those predefined maps. The other thing, just going back here, I want to clear the result and show that, I'll reposition the map, I'll center the map, that in the background here, there's a base map, and it's essentially mostly gray with not a lot of detail. That's the right kind of background for a thematic map. But we can change the base map. So we've got options here. If you click change base map, you could look at it, say the OpenStreetMap, and this gives you details. You wouldn't necessarily use this for thematic mapping, but you may just use this as a map. You can zoom in. I just rolled my mouse to do that. Or you can click the plus or minus button over here to zoom in or zoom out, and you can see the details of this map in this way. We also could change the base map to imagery and be able to see air, let me close this, air photography. And so this gives you an option to explore the air photography as well if that was something that you wanted to do even without using the thematic map tool. So I'm going to change the base map back to light gray as the default. Recenter the map. Now we're going to go to the next tool, which is to query data. So the query data tool allows us to be able to set up the ability to look for particular data that's above a certain value or below a certain value or equal to a certain value. So I'm going to choose the minor civil divisions to query the data, and I'm going to, in this case, choose population projections. So we do have population projections done by the Regional Planning Commission, and that data is available here. And I'm going to pick a period of time, let's say 2040, the projections for 2040. And let's say we wanted to know which municipalities, because this is at the MCD level, were, in this case, not equal, but we'll do greater than or equal to 25,000 people. So we perform that query, and we see the municipalities, and in this case, let's put layer visibility back on. Click the minor civil divisions, and now we can see the municipalities that are projected to have at least 25,000 people as of 2040. And so you can set your own query for any of the data sets. There are over 100 data sets in this application that you can query and that you can create maps from. The next tool is to be able to calculate population within a distance, within a radius. So when you click that tool, you'll have the ability to type in an address. We already have our office address typed in, and you can type in a search radius. So let's say we want to know within 10 miles what's the population of within 10 miles of the office of CDRPC. And then we'll pick the data set. We have the option of the decennial census or the American Community Survey data. We'll choose that and say find, and it will highlight the area, the radius of those tracts that are within a 10-mile radius, and it will also tell you, if you look down to the left here, the total population within that radius. And so you can put in any address and put in any radius. Another tool is the Find Address tool. And again, we have the address of the Regional Planning Commission. You can type in any address, and it will allow you to pinpoint a particular address. So that's a very easy and straightforward tool. Okay. If you want to remove the dot, you hit Find Address again and clear the graphic. I'm going to remove layer visibility, and I'm going to just do one last demonstration here, is to hit Quick Maps again, pick a particular quick map, and you can do this with any map that you've made, and print the map. So once you have a map, you may want to print it. I'll show the labels. And in order to print the map, you have a tab or a button right here just to be able to click to print the map. You can type in a title if you want, and you've got the default at 8.5 by 11, but there are other sizes depending on your printer if you want to print it, or if you want to just save it. This is going to save it to a PDF, and then you can share that with others. And then you would just hit print, and you would have the option then to open it typically, or to save it depending on how you have your computer set up. And here we have the PDF map that you can save for later or share with others. So the last thing that I want to show is just that there is a help menu, and if you click on the help tab, we've got descriptions, detailed descriptions of all of the different things that I've gone through, and some more detailed data about some things that I didn't go into in detail, like for example metadata about the actual data itself if you wanted to view that, and all of the details of how to do something like create the thematic map. And so you see all the steps here to be able to go through it step by step to create your own map. And just one last point with the help menu is that there's contact information here. It's my contact information, and if you are working through this application and you get stuck on anything, or you have questions about anything and you want me to just walk you through it, feel free to just call the Regional Planning Commission office, and I'll be glad to help you through the application. Thanks for visiting this video.